So I haven't done one of these videos in quite a while. I'm going to be reading scary stories to tell in the dark. A few stories here. So the first story is The Dead Man's Brains, which I don't know why that's a title. Cat, do not get in the video. You've already been in multiple videos. Okay, anyway. The scary story is a scary game that people play at Halloween. Cat, get out of the way! She's fine, but she's a little brat, man. She's gotten in every one of my videos today. But anyway, this scary story is a scary game that people play at Halloween. But it can be played whenever the spirit moves you. Cat, please get out of the way. Stupid cat. I'm sorry, but she's pissing me off. The players sit in a circle in a darkened room and listen to a storyteller describe the rotting remains of a corpse. Each part is passed around for them to feel. In one version, a player is out if he or she screams or gasps with fright. In another version, everyone stays till the end, no matter how scared they get. Here's the story. Once in this town, there lived a man named Brown. It was years ago on this night that he was murdered out of spite. Where we have here his remains. First, let's feel his brain. A wet, squishy tomato. Now here are his eyes, still frozen with surprise. 2 peeled grapes. This is his nose, a chicken bone. Here is his ear, a dried apricot. And these are in parentheses. And here is his hand, rotting flesh and bone. A cloth or rubber glove filled with mud or ice. But his hair still grows. A handful of corn, silk, or wet fur or yarn. And his heart still beats now and then, a piece of raw liver. And his blood still flows. Dip your fingers in it. Cat, get out of the way, please. And his heart still beats now and then, a piece of raw liver. And his blood still flows. Dip your fingers in it. It's nice and warm. A bowl of ketchup, then with warm water. That's all there is except for these worms. They are the ones that ate the rest of him. A handful of wet cooked spaghetti noodles. And I think that's the end of the story. Just really weird. And I'm sorry, guys. I was getting mad at this cat, but I didn't hit her or anything. She's just a crybaby in general. I just kind of pushed her out of the way a little bit, and she's just a crybaby. So, this is another story. May I Carry Your Basket? Sam Lewis spent the evening playing chess at his friend's house. It was about midnight when they finished their game and he started home. Outside it was icy cold and as quiet as the grave. As he came around a turn in the road, he was surprised to see a woman walking ahead of him. She was carrying a basket covered with a white cloth. When he caught up to her, he looked to see who it was, but she was so bundled up against the cold, it was hard to see her face. "Good evening," Sam said. "What brings you out so late?" But she didn't answer. Then he said, "May I carry your basket?" She handed it to him. From under the cloth, a small voice said, "That's very nice of you." And that was followed by wild laughter. Sorry, let me take a drink. Sam was so startled that he dropped the basket and out rolled a woman's head. He looked at the head and he stared at the woman. "It's her head," he cried, and he started to run. And the woman and her head began to chase him. Soon the head caught up to him. It bounded into the air and sunk its teeth into his left leg. Sam screamed with pain and ran faster. But the woman and her head stayed right behind. Soon the head leaped into the air again and bit into his other leg. Then they were gone. That's literally the end of it. It's a little anticlimactic. It just says, "and then they were gone." So this next part in the book is called Other Dangers. It says, most of the scary stories in this book have been passed down over the years, but the ones in this chapter have been told only in recent times. They are stories that young people often tell about dangers we face in our lives today. So, by the way, this is still like the first scary stories to tell in the dark. I have plenty of other videos with this topic, you know. I do know that there's another one, and I have the second one, but I know there's like a third one, I think, or maybe a fourth one. I'm not even sure at this point how many there are. But we all know this one is called The Hook. And I think this might be the last one I do in this video. We'll see, though, because my throat is kind of hurting a little bit. Donald and Sarah went to the movies. Then they went for a ride in Donald's car. They parked up on a hill at the edge of town. From there, they could see the lights up and down the valley. Donald turned on the radio and found some music, but an announcer broke in with a news bulletin. A murderer had escaped from the state prison. He was armed with a knife and was headed south on foot. His left hand was moving in its place. He wore a hook. "Let's roll up the window and lock the doors," said Sarah. "That's a good idea," said Donald. That prison isn't too far away," said Sarah. Maybe we really should go home." "But it's only 10 o'clock, said Donald. "I don't care what time it is," she said. "I want to go home." "Look, Sarah," said Donald. "He's not going to climb all the way up here. Why would he do that? Even if he did, all the doors are locked. How could he get in?" "Donald, he could take that hook and break through a window and open a door," she said. "I'm scared. I want to go home." Donald was annoyed. "Girls always are afraid of something," he said. As he started the car, Sarah thought she heard something or heard someone or something scratching at her door. "Did you hear that?" she asked as they rode away. "It sounded like somebody was trying to get in." "Oh, sure," said Donald. Soon they got to her home. "Would you like to come in and have some cocoa?" she asked. "No," he said. "I've got to go home." He ran around to the other side of the car to let her out. Hanging on the door handle was a hook. And there's another version that says she saw the hook and she screamed, and he saw the hook then too. There's like multiple versions to that story. I might read one more just to make it even or something. This is called The White Satin Evening Gown. A young man invited a young woman to a formal dance, but she was very poor, and she could not afford to buy the evening gown she needed for such an occasion. Excuse me. "Maybe you can rent a dress," her mother said. So she went to a pawn shop not far from where she lived. There she found a white satin evening gown in her size. She looked lovely in it, and she was able to rent it for very little. When she arrived at the dance with her friend, she was so attractive, everyone wanted to meet her. She danced again and again and was having a wonderful time. But then she began to feel dizzy and faint, and she asked her friend to take her home. "I think I've danced too much," she told him. When she got home, she lay down on her bed. The next morning, her mother found that her daughter had died. The doctor did not understand what had caused her death, so he had the coroner perform an autopsy. The coroner found that she had been poisoned by embalming fluid. It had stopped her blood from flowing. There were traces of the fluid on her dress. He decided it had entered her skin when she perspired while she was dancing. The pawnbroker said he bought the dress from an undertaker's helper. It had been used in a funeral for another young woman, and the helper had stolen it just before she was buried. Okay, that's scary. I don't think I would ever want to use or wear a used dress again. So the next time we'll be on High Beams. That's what the next story is called. I'm just going to end it here because I need a little bit of a break talking. I say that now, but I'm probably going to film more videos. I might film another part to this. Like, I've had so many videos where I read stories and stuff. The first time I did like an urban legend by itself, it was called The Babysitter Urban Legend. So if you haven't seen that video, I would check that video out too. And I'm gonna go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.